Hello, everyone, and welcome to Psychedelic Insights. Today, we will be delving into the world of NN-DMT in the psychedelic medicine sector. Um, Something to note that's very interesting about all of these companies we'll be covering today. They're the main players here. They're all trying to extend the duration of DMT, which is typically, I believe, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even shorter in some cases. They're all trying to extend that up to 45 minutes to an hour, except for one of the companies we'll be covering, which has not yet announced how long the trip will be that they're planning for in development. Before I get more into the video, I'd just like to let you know I hold a position in two of the companies we'll be covering today, and that is Atai Life Sciences and Mindset Pharma. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So guys, first off, I'd like to apologize for all the tabs. I'm very, busy guy, I guess, and I need all these tabs up. But anyway, let's get into it. Atai Life Sciences, they call their DMT program VLS-01. They are looking at treatment-resistant depression. It's part of their subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary company, Viridia Life Sciences. And what they're doing with this program is they're partnered with a company called IntelGenX, who makes these films that dissolve on the tongue. I think for this program, it might be a film that goes on the inside of your cheek. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, it is the goal is that once you take it hits right away. They want it to last 45 minutes, maybe slightly longer, around 45 minutes. And that's pretty much it. They're looking at DMT and an oral transmucosal film. Um, and if this works out, it could be very big for Atai because most of these companies are looking at DMT through IV and subcutaneous injection, I think will also be pretty scalable as well. But, this is just easier for the patient. It's the easiest route of administration. So if they can do this and be successful, I think it'll be very big. Looking forward to results in Q3 of part 3 of phase 1 for this. I think they're upping the dose of the DMT for that trial. So let's move on to Cybin, who is working with deuterated DMT. It will also extend the trip to around 45 minutes. We had Doug Drysdale on the channel, and he said that they are looking at a subcutaneous injection. And he was talking about how if that works, it could be given anywhere, a doctor's office, maybe if you're at a psychiatrist. I'm thinking a lot of psychiatrists will end up using these drugs in their practice because they have both the skills of being a doctor, so they know they're familiar with the neuropharmacology of these drugs, and they're also trained in they can offer psychotherapy. So I think it would be perfect for psychiatrists to end up using these in their practice, but we'll see. So still early days. And Cybin is looking at generalized anxiety disorder, which kind of sets them apart from the other companies who are mostly looking at MDD, major depressive disorder, and TRD, treatment-resistant depression. So people, and in the latter, that's when people have failed to respond to 2 or more pharmacological interventions. And they make up 100 million out of the 300 million people sadly diagnosed with depression. But anyway, back to Cybin, they're looking at generalized anxiety disorder, which I find is very interesting. I was very excited to hear Doug's opinion about small pharma's results for their trial in major depressive disorder, and he was very encouraged because there's a lot of overlap in symptoms between generalized anxiety disorder and depression, based on what Doug said, and that is indeed true. So Cybin's a big player in this space. They will have their phase 1 data out by second half of this year, I believe, the end of the year. So looking forward to that. And then you have Mindset Pharma. I'm opening up their investor deck here because I think we get a little bit more information on exactly what their family four is. So family four is their um we'll go down here. Family four is their next generation 5-MeO and NN-DMT programs. So today we're just focusing on NN-DMT. I covered 5-MeO DMT. I did a pretty deep dive on GH Research working with that and their competition with Beckley Psytech and Lusaris. I don't think Lusaris is around anymore, actually, it turns out, but that's a good video if you want to learn more about the space with 5-MeO DMT. But here with Family 4, by the way, it is backed by Otsuka Pharmaceuticals. They're spending money, they're funding the program to the end of phase 1B, 1A and 1B, and then they could potentially sign a bigger deal with Mindset at the end of that if they like what they see. So you have improved 5-HT2A receptor functional profile, CNS penetrant and orally active. Orally active is big there. So I guess they're aiming for what a tie is doing, but maybe they're looking at a pill, not sure. Shorter duration potential, it's still early days. They don't, and they're working with completely novel chemical entities. So it is actually in a sense a riskier bet. But I think the upside, I'm invested in Mindset. I think the upside with their programs is incredible. Unique serotonergic receptor profile, greater 5-HT2A potency, distinct behavioral pattern. That last part, I am not sure exactly what it means. But that's interesting. Distinct behavioral pattern. Anyway, so yeah, DMT, like psilocybin, is a 5-HT2A agonist. They're very closely related. They work similarly, but if you follow the psychedelic space, DMT is quite a bit stronger and it's a shorter experience. You hear people reporting that they see these entities that seem more real than anything they've seen in their entire life. So I mean, the research on DMT specifically about these extended state experiences that are being studied are just incredible to follow. I think this drug has an insane amount of potential for different mental health disorders and maybe even addiction too. But sorry, I got a little off track. Back to Family Fourth Mindset. Again, it's funded by Otsuka. I think they're set to enter IND enabling studies in the next couple of months at least. Could be longer. I don't think so though. And once I saw Otsuka was backing this, I had always been very interested in the potential, especially not only from an investment perspective, but just as something that could be a great medicine for people always interested in DMT. And now on the investment side, when I saw Otsuka decided to partner with them on these drugs, I said, I think there's something there. I think there's something there with this program, and with NN-DMT in general. It's going to be able, if it works well, it's going to be able to scale out a lot better, reach more people. But at the end of the day, Atai Life Sciences likes to say mental health is not a one size fits all approach. There's going to be drugs that work better for some people and drugs that work better for other people. So again, not too much information on Family 4 from Mindset, but it is definitely a program to look out for. And Gilgamesh Pharmaceuticals, I made a video on them. They're looking at next gen DMT also. It's a new chemical entity. By the way, Cybins is also a new chemical entity, and I think Atai is looking at different IP strategies around formulation and delivery method. With Gilgamesh, it's a novel compound, and they've described their DMT as also having they think it might have some effects similar to MDMA, where it's an empathogen. And I've talked about why I think that could be incredible, potentially if it does work like that, in the Gilgamesh video. So if you want to learn more about their program specifically, check that video out. But yeah, they're looking at IV route of administration, and it looks like they're in phase 1. They didn't announce that. I had to go on their website and check that, and once I saw that, I was very pleased. Excited to see what's to come from Gilgamesh. And lastly, this is a little bit of a mysterious company to me. Um, you have Biomine Labs. Not to knock on them, I looked into them a bit. They only have, I think, $2 million left of cash, based on what I was seeing. And they're looking at DMT and 5-MeO DMT for a bunch of different disorders. You have treatment-resistant depression. We'll focus on DMT. Major depressive disorder. Let's see. They have a DMT combination drug. I don't. It's very hard to find information on Biomine Labs, but I thought I would definitely have to cover them in this video. Just looking at all the indications they're going after. Morbid obesity, just very interesting areas where you wouldn't expect someone to be looking at DMT. Makes me think maybe they're onto something, but they will need to raise more cash to continue these trials. All right, guys, and last but not least, we will be looking at small pharma. They are furthest ahead in development when it comes to NN-DMT. They put out incredible phase 2A results with their intravenous DMT. But it looks like from their last update that that program was more of a proof of concept for them, and they will be putting their focus on doing a larger phase 2 trial with SPLO 28 injectable deuterated DMT. I believe it's IV. I could be wrong. Maybe it's subcutaneous, but from what I know, it's IV, and it's also like Cybin, it's a deuterated form of DMT, and again, they're extending it out to 45 minutes. Yeah, their results for the phase 2 were just incredible. The stock popped a lot off of those results, but somehow the company is worth $15 million now. They do have $22 million left in cash, but I think it's safe to say they will need to raise more money pretty soon to get that program going. Perhaps they partner up with someone, but yeah, again, their DMT trial was very successful with their SPLO 26. It was shorter acting than their SPLO 28. They see more promise with SPLO 28. And just to wrap up this video, I just think it's really interesting. All of these companies, except Mindset hasn't stated anything about this, but all of these companies except Mindset have stated that they are trying to extend the duration of the DMT trip. Just speculating here, I think there's a couple reasons. One, I think a longer DMT trip will be less overwhelming. From what I heard, Dr. Srinivas Rao on Shroomstock's Reddit for an AMA, I asked about that program. I said, what sets you guys apart? He talked about their delivery system, but also that the trip will be perhaps not as overwhelming to people with a short, quick 15-10 minute DMT experience. And I think I mean, I'm an Thai investor. I love their program, but I will say all of these companies seem to be extending the trip. Also, another thing I've heard people talk about in terms of extending the trip, not only will it make it potentially less overwhelming, but also it's more time in the psychedelic headspace to really look at maybe the root cause of your suffering. I can't say, I've never done DMT or any of these shorter acting psychedelics. But they believe it's that 10 to 15 minutes is just too short to be therapeutic. But yeah, and the last thing, all of these companies seem to be using psychotherapy. Mindset Pharma hasn't stated what their plans are. Thai Life Sciences is using a digital therapeutics app. Now, what I've been trying to figure out is, are they trying to completely replace the therapist, a human therapist, or is that technology to help aid a therapist? Comments I've seen a Thai with their, the things I've seen a Thai comment on their digital therapeutics app is not that all of these clinics won't necessarily have therapists there. So maybe they're looking at this for people who don't have access to therapy. I don't know exactly how that would work. They've stated they want to leverage the existing clinical infrastructure set out by J&J for Spravato, and get their DMT program into there eventually. but it should be interesting to see. This is a very exciting space. There's a lot of competition in NN-DMT. Um, it'll be interesting to. I mean, I hope all these companies succeed. Even though I'm holding a tie-in mindset, I hope all of them succeed. It's more options for people. So, guys, I want to keep it short today. Just wanted to give a quick overview of the sector when it comes to NN-DMT, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, maybe learned something. If you have any questions and want to talk more about this is my passion. I love learning more about these companies. So feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, the comment section here. And if you guys want to follow more of our updates, please follow us at Psyched Insights on Twitter. We post a lot of cool stuff there. That being said, have a great day, everyone.